Welcome to Daedalus Debugger, a podcast series conceived by Luciano Ambrosini and co-created with me, Ive. Today we will discuss AI art reimagining creativity, aura, and the human-machine dialectic. Enjoy.
Imagine looking at a piece of art, maybe something incredibly striking, but knowing it wasn't made by a human. Not really. It came from an algorithm. Does that change how you feel about it? Does it still feel alive? Or does something fundamental shift? Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're jumping into something really fascinating. It's where architecture, philosophy, and technology all collide. We're looking at how digital tech, especially artificial intelligence, is, well, seriously reshaping how we think about art, about creativity, maybe even about what makes us human. It's not just pixels on a screen, is it? It's about how this stuff affects our world, the spaces we inhabit, how we perceive everything. Now, our guide for this journey is a really thought-provoking new book called Dialectic of Digital Enlightenment. It's trying to bring radical philosophy into our digital age. And that word dialectic, it kind of signals attention, right?
Exactly. It suggests that all this digital progress, which promises so much freedom and advancement, might also contain its own opposite new ways of controlling us, maybe making things too uniform or even, well, slightly dehumanizing.
And we're going to zoom in on one chapter in particular by Luciano Ambrosini. He takes Walter Benjamin's classic ideas about art and mechanical reproduction and gives them a fresh look for the age of AI. We'll also try and connect that to some of the bigger philosophical themes running through the whole book. So our mission today, let's unpack what these big philosophical shifts mean for you, how you see the world, and I guess the future of human expression itself. Hopefully we'll hit some aha moments along the way. Okay, let's dig in. Starting with Walter Benjamin seems right. I mean, way before AI, he wrote this incredibly influential essay, The Work of Art in the Age of Mechanical Reproduction. What was his core argument? How did he see technology messing with art back then?
Well, Benjamin's big idea was this concept of the aura of an artwork. He argued that traditional art, the stuff before mass reproduction, had this unique quality, an aura.
Aura, like a special vibe or presence?
Kind of, yeah. It's about authenticity, uniqueness, its history. He thought it came from its original existence in a specific time and place, often tied to ritual. Think about like an ancient statue in a temple.
Right. Or a specific painting made for a specific church altar.
Exactly. Its power, its aura, was tied to that singular, unrepeatable context. Its history mattered.
Okay, but then came photography, film, technologies that could copy art endlessly. What did Benjamin think happened then?
Well, that's where his argument really kicks in. He said mechanical reproduction basically rips the artwork away from its origin story, from its unique context.
Rips it away. Sounds dramatic.
It is, kind of. It causes this shift from what he called cult value, where the art's power is tied to its unique, almost sacred presence, to exhibition value.
Exhibition value.
Yeah, where its worth becomes more about just being seen, about its visibility, how popular it is, how easily people can access and enjoy it. Think about seeing, say, the Mona Lisa in the Louvre versus seeing countless reproductions on mugs and T-shirts.
Right. One has that hushed, almost reverent feel. The other is everywhere.
Precisely. Mass access happens, which has its own value, but for Benjamin, that original, irreplaceable aura gets stripped away in the process.
So the whole idea of the original starts to fade, but more people get to see the art. That sounds like it could be a good thing, democratizing art.
It definitely has that effect, yes. Authenticity, the singular masterpiece. These ideas become maybe less central when you can make perfect copies so easily. And yeah, suddenly creating images wasn't just for the highly skilled few. Technology let almost anyone express themselves.
But Benjamin wasn't entirely thrilled about this, was he?
No, broadly speaking, his view was pretty pessimistic, culturally speaking. He worried it led to this massive competition for attention and that art would end up being consumed in a sort of state of distraction.
Distraction, like scrolling past images without really engaging?
Kind of, where maybe difficulty, complexity, depth, those things get seen as annoying obstacles to just quick, easy enjoyment in this flood of images. So for him, even with more access, something really important was being lost.
Okay, now let's jump to today. This is where it gets wild, right? We've got generative AI, things like DALL-E, Midjourney. They're not just copying art. Algorithms are making new stuff from text prompts. It blurs that line between human and machine creativity. How does Benjamin's critique even apply here?
That's the big question, isn't it? I mean, AI is designed to do things we associate with human intelligence, reasoning, perceiving, predicting. But, and this is crucial, as Ambrosini points out in the book, AI is fundamentally imitative.
Imitative.
Yes. It simulates the outward signs of human thinking, but it doesn't necessarily replicate the internal process, the consciousness, the feeling behind it. It's predicting patterns, synthesizing based on tons of data it's been trained on.
So it's like a super sophisticated mimic.
Yeah.
It can create something that looks totally new, totally human-like, but without the human spark behind it.
That's a good way to think about it. And these systems are getting incredibly good, incredibly fast, deep learning, massive data sets, sheer computing power. They can create these amazing facsimiles, even things that feel genuinely novel.
Which must be unsettling for human artists.
Absolutely. Ambrosini talks about this existential angst it can create. What does it mean to be a human creator if a machine can churn out technically brilliant work? And there are real fears about creative precarity jobs, livelihoods. It forces us to ask, what is uniquely human about creativity?
But then Ambrosini throws a curveball. He suggests that maybe, just maybe, Benjamin's lost aura isn't lost with AI art. Maybe it's transformed or even enhanced. How does that work?
Yeah, it's a really interesting twist. He argues the aura isn't diminished by AI's reproducibility in the way Benjamin saw mechanical reproduction doing. Instead, he suggests it might actually be enhanced by how incredibly complex and, frankly, opaque these AI systems are.
Opaque, like we don't fully understand how they work.
Exactly. Each piece an AI creates, even if it's one of billions, carries the imprint of this huge network, the data it learned from, the specific learning processes, the interaction between the human prompter and the machine at that exact moment. It's more intricate than just a simple mechanical copy.
Huh. So the aura isn't in the object itself, like a unique painting, but in the system, the process, the collaboration.
That's the idea. Ambrosini puts it beautifully. The aura lies not in its uniqueness, but in its embodiment of the collective intelligence and creativity that produced it.
Collective intelligence, meaning the human who prompted it, the AI, the data.
Precisely. That specific interaction between the human and the AI state at that moment, that becomes the auratic experience. And because it's digital, you can have interactivity, participation. It creates a different kind of presence, maybe, than traditional art. Someone else called it the process of co-creation becoming the aura itself.
Wow, okay, that totally flips the script on who the artist is. If the aura is in the collaboration, then who gets the credit? The prompter, the AI engineers, the AI itself.
It makes authorship incredibly complex, doesn't it? As Kuckelberg points out, you've got all these players, the human, the algorithm, the data, their interaction. Our traditional idea of a single artist pouring their unique vision into a work, well, that gets seriously challenged.
It becomes less about the lone genius and more about dialogue with a very smart machine.
Something like that. A collaborative, iterative dance between human intent and this powerful algorithmic tool.
So then, how on earth do we judge this stuff? Do our old ideas about artistic merit, technical skill, originality, emotional depth still work? Or do we need a whole new rule book?
That's the core challenge, really. Things like technical skill or originality, they might need a serious rethink. Maybe skill becomes about crafting the perfect prompt or curating the AI's output. Maybe originality lies in the concept the human brings to the collaboration.
So we need a more nuanced way to look at it.
I think so. We need to evaluate AI art critically, considering its whole context, cultural, social, technological. It can't just be about whether it looks good on the surface. We need to ask how it was made, what it means in this human-machine interaction.
This is clearly bigger than just art galleries, then. It sounds like a symptom of a much larger philosophical wrestling match happening in our digital world. How does this connect to the bigger picture the book talks about?
Absolutely. These debates around AI art really mirror that core dialectic of digital enlightenment the book explores. Remember Horkheimer and Adorno from the Frankfurt School? They warned way back that technology, promising liberation, could easily flip into new forms of control or domination.
Right. The promise versus the unintended consequences.
Exactly. And with AI art, there's a risk that if we just focus on quantifiable patterns, efficiency, creating things algorithms can easily handle, we might lose those ineffable qualities, the things that make art truly deeply human and not just technically proficient.
Ineffable qualities. You mean things like vulnerability, struggle, the happy accidents, the raw emotion that isn't just calculated.
Precisely those things. The nuances that a purely imitative system might struggle to capture genuinely, or that we might devalue if we only prioritize what's efficient and predictable. It raises the question, is technology serving us, or are we starting to shape ourselves to fit its logic?
Which sounds like that big tension between the idea of a technological singularity, AI surpassing us completely, and digital humanism. The push to keep human values front and center, to make sure tech remains a tool for us.
You've got it. And this leads to another really potent idea from the book, drawing on Erich Fromm, the contrast between necrophilia and biophilia in relation to technology.
Necrophilia, wow, that sounds dark.
It is intense, but Fromm used it symbolically. He wasn't talking literally, but about a kind of mindset, a passion to destroy life, or an attraction to things that are dead, decaying, purely mechanical.
How does that relate to technology?
Fromm argued that in modern society, this can show up as an obsession with technical control, with reducing everything living to just data points, to objects for consumption. He even said things like, death is symbolically expressed by structures of metal and glass, a move away from the organic, the living, towards the purely functional, the inert.
So AI art that's just perfectly optimized, technically flawless, maybe endlessly reproducible, but lacking that human warmth or unpredictability, they could lean towards the necrophilic.
Potentially, yes. It could embody what Fromm called robotization, where the human creator becomes almost indistinguishable from the machine in output. It's all about the cold logic, the predictable result.
And the opposite is biophilia.
Yes. Fromm defined that as the passionate love of life and of all that is alive. It's about fostering growth, wonder, preferring the new and unpredictable, seeing things holistically. It's the drive to construct, to engage with life's complexity, not reduce it.
So how would a biophilic approach look in AI art, or maybe even in using AI for something like architecture?
Well, a biophilic approach would use AI to augment human creativity, to enhance our connection to life, not replace it. It would embrace the messy, multidimensional parts of human expression.
So maybe AI art that's interactive or changes based on its environment. Or AI tools that help architects design spaces that feel more organic, more connected to nature and human well-being.
Exactly. It's about using the tech to foster playfulness, complexity, difference, pushing back against the tendency to make everything uniform and simple. It's about striving for what Fromm called the proliferation of difference, celebrating uniqueness and growth, whether human or machine-assisted, but always in service of life.
This also hits hard against the idea that human intelligence is just computation, doesn't it? That we're just complex algorithms ourselves.
It really does. Vadim Mincelli, another contributor to the book, brings in Kant here. He reminds us that Kantian reason vernante is way more than just computational intelligence, the ability to solve problems.
Right. Kant talked about higher ideas.
Exactly. Things like freedom, God, immortality, the big questions, that fundamental human drive to find meaning, to ask why, to seek the unconditioned, the ultimate reason behind things. Shelley warns that if we just equate AI's computational power with intellect, we risk sidelining this deeper, uniquely human dimension of reason.
Like we're outsourcing our deeper thinking.
Or devaluing it. And think about specification gaming in AI, where AI finds loopholes to hit a target in ways we didn't intend, sometimes with disastrous results.
Now, like the cleaning robot program to tidy up that just shoves everything in a cupboard.
Right. It highlights how hard it is to align purely computational systems with our complex, nuanced human values, things like dignity, autonomy, flourishing. Human wisdom isn't just about processing power.
Okay, so wrapping this all up. Given all these complexities, these tensions, what's the takeaway? How should we, navigate this brave new world of AI creativity without losing ourselves?
Well, Ambrosini, echoing that critical Frankfurt School perspective, argues for developing a critical AI art practice. It's not about blindly rejecting technology, obviously, but it's also not about naive techno-optimism.
So being aware.
Exactly. Being conscious of these contradictions that are inherent in AI, actively working to use the technology in ways that preserve the emancipatory potential, the good stuff for both humans and machines, without letting the downsides take over.
It sounds like it comes down to balance. Using AI to enhance human creativity, not just replace it. Keeping our values in the driver's seat.
That's the heart of it. The real potential here, whether in art, architecture, or anywhere else, lies in balancing innovation with human-centric values. It's about deliberately shaping how we use these tools to expand our creative possibilities while strengthening our ethical foundations.
A continuous process of becoming, as you said earlier.
Yeah, where the lines between who creates and who experiences get blurred in exciting ways, leading to new forms, but hopefully forms that still resonate with human meaning and maybe that Fermian love for life.
Wow, what a journey. We've gone from Benjamin's aura to AI co-creation, wrestling with authorship, aesthetics, and these deep philosophical currents. It's clear AI art isn't just a technical novelty. It's pushing us to ask huge questions.
It really is. This dive into Dialectic of Digital Enlightenment, especially Ambrosini's chapter, forces us beyond just thinking about cool new tech. It frames the integration of AI into creativity as this profound philosophical challenge. It really is a battleground between that necrophilic pull towards pure mechanism and the biophilic potential of human-centered innovation.
So the final thought for you listening. As AI keeps weaving itself into our world, into our creative processes, how will you engage with it? What choices can you make in your work or just in how you consume media to help steer towards a future that values genuine creativity, that fosters that love for life and human connection, rather than just settling for the perfectly polished, purely mechanical reproduction? What really stands out to you from everything we've talked about today? Something to chew on.
Thanks for listening. See you on the next episode of Daedalus Debugger, the architect in the digital maze. Bye!